Alex, thanks so much for joining me.
Hey Leah, thank you for having me. I appreciate being able to be on this show. I've seen you interview a bunch of people, and I'm just excited to be here, part of the experience.
Wonderful. Well, as you've seen then, I like to ask everybody at the beginning, just tell me a little bit about Arbor and what it's all about.
So Arbor is essentially what we've been doing for the last 12 months is really just putting together a ton of data, like oceans of data when it comes to the environmental and social side of things that of companies and what they do, primarily focusing on products. So we've been able to get to a point now that we've used this data to create essentially an engine that you can feed in pretty much almost all products at this point, and we can give you an understanding of what kind of emissions let's say how many emissions were produced by making this product, where this product came from, how much waste is generated in the process of this creation of the product, and then how much water is used. So to give you an example, to make a pair of shoes, on average, it takes about over 200 liters of water, which is a lot. Like think of a 1 liter bottle and then 200 of those, right? Like that's a ton. And then what we've come to the point to is be able to estimate these things, because you'll never get 100% accuracy. The technology just isn't there right now, but it's kind of what we akin it to is like you look at the weather, and the weather will be like, okay, it is raining for your city, but you might be living on a side of the town where it's maybe the rain hasn't hit yet. So it's kind of one of those things where you give an understanding, but it's never going to be 100% accurate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So tell me what it is, Alex, that really drove you to actually create the company in the first place.
So before we did this company, we were running a software development firm, and so it was just the four of us, like the co-founders. Our skill set was always just building things. The three of us are software engineers, and then the fourth co-founder is more on like the business development side. And so it's kind of a perfect scenario. But we had only been running for about like 8 months, and then pandemic hit. And we just all of our projects got canceled or definitely postponed. And we just always wanted to create our own product company to have our own product. So we wanted to basically we didn't want to build stuff for other people. It was only kind of like a means to an end to learn how companies work and stuff like that. And then when pandemic hit, we were like, okay, well, we can either just sit on our asses and do nothing, or we can do something chase some sort of passion that we have. And we started playing around with some data and started looking at stuff. We always had a passion for being able to make change, impact, but not everyone says they want to make the world a better place. It's kind of like a meme now, but we actually had the ability to track those things. You have actual ways to tell if you're making a difference or not. And that's kind of where this all started from. And as we started working on it, the timing just kept becoming better and better. Throughout the pandemic, people were seeing, with the lack of, let's say, human activity going on because everything was locked down, environment was doing way better. There's the whole nature is healing kind of stuff that was going on. And then as well, during that period, there's just a lot of uncertainty, and people were a lot more careful with how they were spending. And that kind of led to more questions being asked of if I'm giving this company my money, what are they doing with it? Where are their products coming from? How does that impact the world? How am I impacting the world? And there was a lot of questions that people had that but zero answers. And that's what we worked to kind of just answer those questions for people.
Incredible. Incredible. Okay, so some logistical questions. How many years have you guys been in business then?
So it's been so we incorporated in end of September 2020. So it's been basically just over 12 months as a serious, legitimate business. Mm-hmm. We closed our first round, so our pre-seed, in January 2021. So that's kind of when stuff actually started to happen. We were an actual company. We could pay ourselves finally and stuff like that. So I would say, about just over a year now.
Exciting. How many employees do you have at this point?
we're up to 14, which is pretty crazy. Yeah, we started with four, literally like the most. Like if you ever watched the show Silicon Valley, like it was like the most like 4 guys just in a basement, grinding away, and then just somehow have grown to a team of 14 now.
Incredible, incredible. Now, you touched on this a little bit, but as you know, at Thinner Labs, we always talk about the impact we want to create. For you personally and with the company, what sort of impact do you want to create?
I think the thing that for us is like we can actually measure the impact, which like a lot of times when people talk about impact, it's like, oh, I want to change the world and I want to reduce this or whatever it is. I can actually for an example, one of the use cases that we've had with our data, we were able to redirect 137 shoe purchases to more sustainable ones. And out of that, we were able to prevent like 50,000 kilograms of landfill waste. We were able to prevent 1,500 kilograms of CO2 emissions, and then saved over like 221,000 liters of water. So that was pretty much like one of the earliest things that we did to showcase that like the stuff that we were doing was making a difference. And it also, on those products, there was like a 400% increase in conversion rates. So like based on like, there's this thing called like earnings per click, which is like how much money you make per 100 clicks as a marketplace. Mm-hmm. We had about $23.30 per 100 clicks, which is like 400% higher than like regular average marketplaces. So what we got out of that was like, this stuff works. Like it's very, very, important to people right now. It's helping them make decisions. And I think the biggest takeaway is that like we don't have to feel bad about us making money, because we're also like when do you get to help companies increase profits but also like help them save the world? Like it's just like kind of like a perfect scenario.
It really is, no question. Those numbers are incredible, by the way. Okay, so tell me, Alex, what is next for Arbor? Where are you driving? Where are you going?
So next, right now we're working on closing our next seed round. Should be able to do that pretty quick here. After that, we basically are just expanding. Like it sounds like too good to be true, but it's a scenario where we're in right now is basically there's so much opportunity for us. Like we have all these commitments, like signed commitments from companies that are essentially like they want what we are giving them, but we don't actually have the ability to provide all of it at once. And so what we're looking really forward to right now is just scaling, which is just hiring more people, being able to get those teams together, start executing a bunch of these projects. Because demand is really high right now, and we're just still pretty small. And all we need is just that kind of like injection of capital to really just like over the next year really make a lot of waves right now.
Very exciting. Well, we can't wait to watch, and we're very proud to have you in the portfolio. Alex, thanks so much for this.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.